Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of The Building Blocks. I am Vivek.
I'm Monali.
And today we have with us Sneha, who is a senior product manager at 1mg.
So
Hi,
Sneha,
guys.
how are you doing today morning?
I'm doing very well. I'm very excited to talk to you guys in this setting.
Cool Sneha. So let's start from very beginning. How your product journey started, kaise, and then finally how you landed up at 1mg.
So, I am an accidental product manager.
Okay.
When I was doing my engineering back in those days, I don't think product management was really that well defined. So obviously, like after my graduation, I was seduced by finance. So I really loved the analytical rigor and helped me structure my thoughts. But during that time in my previous company, I started working with a few startups, and I really loved that energy. Hence, when I joined Tata 1mg and I joined the product management team, I really liked what I was doing because you create something, you put it out in the market, you get feedback, then you improve. I really liked the entire life cycle, and also the fact that you have to talk to like so many people, collaborate with designers, engineers, analytics, business counterparts to get something done. I think that is also something that I really liked.
So let's say it was a good accident.
Yeah, it was a good
Yeah.
accident, happy accident.
So what exactly are you taking care of at Tata 1mg?
Multiple things, but I think most important right now is customer experience because
Okay.
that is what like is one of the key focus of 1mg is right now.
Okay.
So that part.
I think so. I have a doubt here, like कि customer experience product manager. Like, but in generally, if we think of product manager, तो हर कोई बोलता है कि everyone is thinking about customer
Yeah.
experience. But
Yeah.
like, what's the difference here?
Yeah, so the way we've structured it in 1mg is that imagine like going from left to right, right? So we've divided into 3 buckets. The first bucket is that we don't let anxiety creep in the head of the customer. Second is if we know something is going wrong, then we solve it proactively. And the third bucket is if something has gone wrong, then now obviously we have to react to that issue, and the way we do it, that is defined by customer experience.
Okay.
So if you like you rightly said, the first part, which is not letting anxiety creep in, you take an order, you give the correct information on a PDP, you promise a correct ETA, you deliver it on the right time. That is the first bracket where I think everybody is working on.
Right.
Second and third is kind of like when you know an issue has already risen, then what are you going to do proactively? And then if a customer has come to you for help, then how are you going to manage it? And even there we've kind of divided into self-serve, agent serve, machine serve. So my job is to always push the envelope on the left side so that like a person who has come to the agent, next time maybe like the machine, the system, the product is empowered enough, has empowered the customer enough that they can self-serve, and then kind of try to solve it proactively, kind of push the envelope towards the left side.
But tell me something, is customer experience a little different in healthcare? Because when I'm going to other apps to order, maybe I'm just a happy customer. But if I'm coming to 1mg, maybe I'm ordering medicines, I am stressed. So is it like kind of different?
For sure. So I think the basic fundamentals are the same. Service, you have to under-promise, over-deliver, deliver at the right time, the right thing. But I think just by virtue of this space, what we're dealing with are medicines, right? And I think like when you order something from some other e-commerce website, if it is coming late, then it doesn't impact you that much.
Right.
But here it really has a huge impact. And the expectation in the head of the customer is huge because, like when this 10-minute hyper-local delivery
Right.
was in the
Right.
was in the news.
It still is actually.
I could see like people are saying that if you are not delivering life-saving medicines, we probably don't need groceries in 10
Right.
minutes. And guess what? Like we are delivering those medicines. So hence the expectation is huge. And I think another part is that even in our diagnostics, sometimes the customers you're dealing with are hungry and angry because they fasted for 12 hours, and that is the worst
All night,
combination,
maybe.
right? Exactly. So then you don't want to aggravate such customers, and it has that impact, and you get that reaction from the customer. So expectation is huge. What we're dealing with is super important, and hence the customer experience in health tech is even more
Right.
important.
More sensitive in nature.
Yeah.
So since you mentioned like people are aggressive और हर किसी को expectation बहुत ज़्यादा high है, but I'll think of your job, it's mostly like यार मैं तो अपना area देख लूँगी, but anxiety can come up from other teams as well. So how do you manage that? Like the other teams have to ensure that they are delivering up to the pace. Only then I can control the damage of an extent.
So, so when I look at my users, I consider first user is obviously 1mg's user customer. Second user is also the agent who's trying to solve this problem for a customer. So they are our soldiers, they are the feet on the ground. But the third user is also 1mg itself, because in certain ways we are the custodians of the voice of customer.
Right.
So capturing it in a way that it is consumable, understandable for various teams, and sending the right voice to the right product manager, right business team is also kind of the job.
Right.
So we are trying to manage that piece as well.
So when you are trying to do, so is there some kinds of frameworks that you follow? Like if you are trying to, so imagine like I am a person who is trying to build this customer experience from very scratch. I'm starting some product.
Yeah.
So any framework or any things that you have experienced or learned from your experience which you can recommend me?
So I think, so to answer the question, I'll take the same framework, right? 3 users. So for customer, obviously know your product first.
Right.
Understand what is the kind of assistance that will be required because of this product. Is it going to be call? What is the channel of this service that you're going to provide? Should it be call? Should it be chat? Is an email enough? So things like that. Knowing your product means what are the specifications of this product. For example, medicines. For example, 1 kg, if there is no 2 kg rice, you can probably give a 1 kg rice and 1 kg rice together, and customer will be happy. But that doesn't happen in the case of medicines, right? You have to deliver the right thing, the right quantity, the right dosage, and that has like a lot of complexities. Hence, you need to take that into mind when you're designing this customer experience for the customer. Then the second user is agent, because when you say that these obviously there are a lot of medical guidelines and we always abide by it. But helping the agents also understand these medical guidelines, giving them the tools so that they can get all this information so that they can cater to the customer better. So then that is also important. So that you need to get the right tools. And the third is your 1mg, your company, where you are delivering the right metrics. What are the metrics that you're choosing? What is important right now? Is cost more important? Is experience more important? So kind of like knowing the metrics in that way, so that you can give that information in a consumable format to your company.
Now you mentioned what you're doing right now. There are 3 buckets, but as a product manager, you're also supposed to think about the future. So what do you think? How can you scale the customer experience at 1mg?
So scalability is a big problem, right? Because for every customer, if I assign an agent, that does not work. Okay. So hence, this whole empowerment of customer to manage their own order, telling them proactively rather than them coming to us, is a huge theme right now in customer experience.
Right.
Hence, we are kind of revamping the My Order page, because in health tech, it's a little different, right?
Because can you just tell us what exactly is the My Order page for people maybe they haven't used the app?
Yeah, so once you place your order, then whatever information you need regarding your order, so with respect to your orders, you can go to your My Order page and see everything. So here it's a little different, because maybe like when you go to any like Amazons and Flipkarts of the world, you place an order and then you just wait at your home for the order to get delivered. Here it's a little different, because you have to ensure that you have given the right prescription. If you haven't given the right prescription, if there is an online consultation that has been created, you have to receive that call. So that order verification piece makes it a little more difficult. So hence that empowerment, giving that empowerment to the customer is important. So we are kind of revamping that, making it in a way that we can, that the customer can manage their order themselves. Other than that, in Agent Serve, we are trying to innovate a bit. For example, we have this metric called agony, which is the percentage of orders where the customer had to come to the agent for more than 2 times. Basically, like if he has to come 3-4 times, then he's agonized.
Right.
So we want to reduce that agony rate. So we kind of got into the system, looked at their conversations, and found out that maybe these are like few orders which this is happening, and there might be something specific. But we realized that it's just the assistance that is required for them. Hence, we are thinking of introducing calling for the customer. So introduce like a callback feature in the chatbot in case they want a callback from the agent. So that is something that we're doing in the next 2 months, next 2-3 months.
Okay, but then have you used any other competitor apps? Maybe you cannot name them right now, but can you tell me something which probably others are doing, which we are not doing right now, which you would want us to have, which is a better feature, let's say?
So 2-3 companies I really love their customer experience. So for example, there was this company called Zappos, right? And they did something really revolutionary where they said that we love talking to the customer. So a lot of times we have our metric, which is your average handling time, that how much time did it take for you to solve a customer's query.
Right.
But they're like, we don't care about AHT. We can sit on a call with the customer for 1 hour, 2 hours also. The longest call I think was for 6 hours. So like we want to talk to the customer. We want to solve it for them. We don't want to send any automated messages to make agents' life easy. We want the agent's personality to shine. Tell them who we are. And I think that was really powerful. So we want to reach to a stage where we can say that our agents are solving only complex queries because all the straightforward queries are being solved by the machine or the My Order page, so that we can actually give that human touch to the customer when there are really complex issues that are happening with the customer. So I think that's where
maybe that will also help because it's healthcare and more sensitive in nature, so people might be more.
And like you said, right, some other companies that do it, like I remember I ordered from Zomato once, and it was a night delivery, and I didn't have, like, I was ordering ice cream, and I loved that the customer experience said, oh, it's so bad that you couldn't have your sweet dish, you couldn't have your ice cream, and it made me feel that I'm talking to a human. I think same happens with Amazon as well. They really like empathize, put themselves in your shoes and try to solve it for you. So you feel like I have a champion within the company who is fighting for me. So it's just that feeling, that human touch.
But I think we've had this discussion. I think Vivek, you can also tell me that Zomato can do that because you're ordering ice creams after dinner. But if you are ordering medicines and your medicines are not on time, you can't say, oh, really bad that your medicines are not here yet.
So that script becomes a bit complex.
Exactly. The script is complex. You can't be like fun and quirky. You can't be funny.
Exactly.
Because this is like sometimes
one important thing, like how do you train people to actually get to that level, right?
Be empathetic but not be insensitive.
And these are people, right? And these are people who have been trained with like very complex medical guidelines, and they obviously, because we are very serious about these guidelines, hence they ensure that they are not doing anything difficult. So you also have to give them that room to push themselves, but also have to kind of check, like keep a check that things are not going wrong. So I think that's a fine balance, that's a sweet spot that we want to reach.
Got it. So some interesting things, like you talk about a lot of metrics, which I found very interesting. So एक आपने agony की बात करी, when it was your average handling time, and obviously North Star is कि zero customer service होनी चाहिए. So what are like few things that you, if I talk about 5-10 metrics that you recommend for a customer experience PM?
So one is aided order rate, which means that if you're getting 100 orders, out of that, how many orders for how many orders do you require aid? Be it machine, through a chatbot or an agent. Then interactions per order, which kind of tells you the repeat value, that can you solve it in the first go, or do you need like multiple interactions on a particular issue. These are like agent side, and then of course agent efficiency, there are like hundreds of metrics you can go for. First contact resolution, AHT, multiple, what is like the concurrency, how many chats can they manage at one go. So I won't kind of like, agent efficiency is a whole different ball game, but I would like to talk about capturing that voice of customer in a correct way, right? So we have kind of, every time a customer comes into our system, so we kind of divide it into, so we kind of attribute a disposition to each issue. And then that disposition is divided into, is it an assistance, is it a complaint, is it an inquiry, which really helps us at the end of the quarter to understand what should be our next goal. For example, like last quarter we thought that there were a lot of rescheduling problems. So then we can kind of give that input to the diagnostic team and say that this kind of issue is cropping up again and again, can we do something about it? So that voice of customer is important for everybody. So that is how we capture it.
Right. So since you mentioned that rescheduling issue, so your work also becomes bit of horizontal, right? कि
Yeah.
हर team के लिए कुछ ना कुछ input जा
Yeah.
रहा होगा and they
Yeah.
have to work upon it.
Yeah. So like I said, right, again, those three buckets.
Right.
So sometimes it is you have the power to do it, to like kind of innovate on the product. Sometimes you have to do it by influence as well. And sometimes you have to get into other people's products and like do these like innovations and get back to your own product. So in that sense, there's a huge collaboration element here, and not just for me, like even for the engineers who are working on this product, even for them, they are consumers of information from various systems. So hence it becomes like that layer of complexity is there in this kind of a horizontal
Right.
product.
And उससे interesting भी होता थोड़ा सा काम, like
Yeah. So a lot of times, like in a journey, maybe somebody is looking at payment, somebody is looking at verification, warehousing, but you need to know the entire journey, the slips and the cracks, like in between these two things, you need to understand that to actually
Interesting.
improve upon it.
got it. Yeah, so one thing that you based upon कि you have to move, draw that line कि यार कुछ queries जो complex queries हैं वही agent के पास जाएं, then machine के पास सारी जा रहे हैं. तो अभी at what stage, so I'm not very much aware about this world, so at what stage has AI reached in terms of these chatbots and all these kinds of things?
I think, of course, we've made a lot of progress, but even now, I don't think, at least I will talk about my product, but I don't think we've reached a stage where a chatbot can actually understand what is the pain point of a customer. They can only give you an option that, is this your pain point, is this your pain point, is this your pain point.
It's very robotic in nature.
Yeah, like it is still a little robotic while we try to make it as empathetic, but we also want to be to the point because we don't want to waste the customer's time also with the
Right.
chatbot. But yeah, I feel like we are still, there's a long way to go, and I think a lot of people are working on it, like Google, everybody is kind of cracking this. But yeah, like there's a long way to go. We need to innovate on that a bit. Also, like the language element, right? Some people write in English, but
Right.
can my bot also understand the language that they are talking in and respond in that language?
Got it.
So-
So अभी how is the split, like English में ही mostly chats होते हैं या फिर English?
So our chatbot is in English, but yeah, we are kind of exploring that piece also.
Alright. और अभी सिर्फ हम लोग chat ही support करते हैं, no call option is there, right?
So yeah, like for Agony, we are we are planning to release that. So right now it is mostly outbound only, that we decide when we want to call the customer,
Okay.
but or we take a request manually, but we want to change that. For some customers, we want to give that option proactively so that they can raise a call back.
So these customer care executives, do they have a script they follow, or do they have certain guidelines, or
Yeah.
how do they decide what to say and what not to say?
So obviously there is a long training period that they go through of around 2 to 3 weeks. We also empower them with these dialogues, like these pre-written templates. So they use that, and rightfully so, because these are like 300-400 people sitting, like taking probably 4 chats simultaneously. So this really helps. But I think again we have to find that spot wherein we like the difference between a template and actually showing human empathy. So I think we need to
Right.
find that right spot, and that's a struggle that we
Right. So like one more thing, like आपने कहा 300 to 400 people are there. So it's also important that they all represent the same brand image, right?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So and that becomes very challenging in
Yeah,
itself.
these are people at the
Right.
end of the day,
Right,
right?
of
It's
course.
difficult to train them for such like intangible things. So
Got it. So it may not be you may not be the right person for that, but I'm just thinking like how do we then manage that ki everyone is on that same pace? How do we ensure that they are communicating the same way that
Yeah.
Tata 1mg brand has to go out?
So see, like 1mg brand, I think of course you have to instill that in them through talks, and I think our agents, our ops team does a good job at it. But I think at my end, what I can do is like give them like the most impeccable tool, wherein whatever information anybody at any place in India has, they would also have that information so that they can help the customer in a better way. So at least that is what I think is my job, and I need to be good at that so that at least I can like do something so that they can serve the customer
Just
better.
empowering them so that they
Yeah,
can make the
yeah.
decision.
Nice.
Cool. I think we are done with more or less the questions that we have. Now let's skip to the good part.
Should we play the Insta reel?
Yeah. So we do a sort of rapid fire. We'll give you certain use cases. Just
Okay.
give us the first product that comes into your mind.
Cool.
Right?
Okay.
Sounds
Let's start.
So the first product that comes to your mind when I say music,
Spotify.
I thought
Payments.
so.
Paytm.
Banking.
I don't know. I've been very curious about Revolut, which is like a
Okay.
app
Fair
from
enough.
UK.
Okay.
It's going to launch in India soon.
Fitness.
Cult Fit. Although I'm guilty that I'm not using it right now, but I should use it more often.
Okay, then something you like. Ordering food.
Zomato. I'm a Zomato loyalist.
Booking flights.
Honestly, whichever gives me the best discounts. I'm very fickle like that. I'm not loyal to any travel app.
Okay. Taking notes or like managing your schedule.
I'm very guilty of this, but I actually take notes in WhatsApp only. It's my favorite thing because I have like a group with just me.
With
I
you, just
take
even
notes.
I do that.
Yeah, like although as a product manager, I should not say that. I should have a tool
That's
for
like
that.
an idea we are
But yeah.
putting out into the world that
Yeah.
we all use WhatsApp.
Yeah, like I'm walking and if I'm talking about something and somebody says something, I'm just writing notes on my WhatsApp only.
Okay.
Got it. Just building on that thing, anything that you use for, since we are in a virtual setup, brainstorming, drawing, coding.
Yeah, I think Jamboard is really helpful.
Okay.
Then I think Draw.io, then your Balsamic and all of that. I think that really helps me like visualize and help others visualize what I'm trying to say.
And the last one. Medicines.
Tata 1mg.
Nice.
Great. Cool. As we come to an end, any parting advice that you want to share with the PMs out there
Here
in the
you
world?
go.
I guess usually I've also learned it, and I guess you need to learn this. But I think never assume.
Okay.
A lot of times the most obvious things you assume that the user is a logical person, but it is not always the case.
Right.
Not every time every person is rational, and you need to kind of appreciate that and build for that as well. So I guess never assume.
Right, I think that's
Nice.
a good one because like we are
Yeah.
biased so much now, like
Yeah.
take assumptions
Yeah.
and we just build upon
Yeah,
that.
like check your bias every time like you are
Right.
talking to anybody.
It's a difficult task, but
Yeah.
it's required. Great. So that's it we have from this episode of the Building Blocks.
And thank you so much, Sneha.
Thanks Manali, thanks
Yeah.
Vivek.
I hope you all liked it, and if you did like it, please do share it. Comment down whatever thoughts you have, any topic that you want us to discuss in the next episode. Write it down. On that note, this is Team Building Blocks signing off.